He was sitting in a bankruptcy attorney's office. The paperwork said he had less than $1 million left. 5 years earlier, he had been handed $26 million. Guaranteed. Before that morning, Vince Young was a legend. He had won a national championship on national television. He was a top 5 NFL draft pick. He had a guaranteed contract worth more money than most American families earn in 100 lifetimes. So how does someone go from $26 million to bankruptcy in 5 years? And more importantly, could the same thing happen to someone you know? This is the story of how it happened. By the end, you will understand something about wealth, trust, and human psychology that the financial industry does not want you to think about. Vince Young grew up in Houston, Texas. He was raised in one of the city's toughest neighborhoods. Money was never certain. Stability was never a given. His mother worked hard to hold the household together. There was no financial safety net. There never had been. But Vince had something rare, the kind of physical talent that gets noticed early and follows you everywhere. By high school, college programs across the country were calling. He chose the University of Texas. He chose to stay close to home. At Texas, he became something extraordinary. In January 2006, he led the Longhorns into one of the most watched college football games in history. Texas was trailing in the final minutes. Vince Young took the snap and ran the ball into the end zone himself. Final score, 41-38. National championship. The entire country had just watched it. Every NFL franchise had just watched it. Vince Young was 22 years old. His whole life appeared to be opening up in front of him. In 2006, the Tennessee Titans selected Vince Young with the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. He signed a contract worth more than $58 million over 6 years. $26 million of that was guaranteed. Guaranteed, meaning he received that portion regardless of what happened next. For a young man from Houston who had watched his family struggle his entire childhood, this number was beyond comprehension. He was a multimillionaire before he played a single professional game. His first season was electric. He won NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Fans in Tennessee loved him. He was the franchise. By 2007, the life looked exactly like what people dream about. A mansion, multiple cars, first-class travel, and surrounding him, an entourage of friends and family who had known him since childhood, now along for the ride. He was generous. He wanted the people he loved to feel what he was feeling. That impulse, that deeply human impulse, would become one of the most expensive decisions of his life. Here is where things started to shift, not because of one dramatic event, because of a slow, invisible leak that nobody caught in time. Vince was spending, every week, thousands of dollars on dinners, chartered flights for friends, gifts, parties, experiences. He reportedly spent $5,000 a week at a single restaurant chain, not occasionally, routinely. But the spending alone was not what destroyed him. What destroyed him was who he trusted with what remained. He handed his finances to advisors, people who were supposed to protect and grow the money. Instead, the funds flowed into investments that never materialized, deals that collapsed, returns that never arrived, fees being collected on a portfolio that was quietly eroding. Vince was playing football. He was not watching the accounts closely. He trusted the people who said they were watching. In 2011, the Titans released him. The contract was done. The guaranteed money had already been spent, committed, or quietly drained. What should have lasted decades had lasted 5 years. He tried to extend his career. Philadelphia Eagles, Buffalo Bills, a brief stint with the Green Bay Packers. Each stop shorter than the last. Each one a reminder that the peak was behind him. What happened next? Nobody who watched him score that championship touchdown could have predicted. By 2014, the money was essentially gone. By 2017, Vince Young filed for bankruptcy. He listed assets of less than $1 million. $1 million after $58 million in contracted NFL earnings. That number deserves a moment. He had not purchased a yacht. He had not bought a private island. He had bought dinners and plane tickets. He had said yes to the wrong people too many times. He had trusted advisors who were supposed to build a future and instead accelerated the collapse. The entourage had real costs. The lifestyle had real costs. The financial management, or the absence of it, had costs that only became visible when it was too late. The personal toll went beyond the money. Football had been his entire identity since childhood. When it ended, there was no second chapter waiting, no structure, no plan B that had been quietly prepared in the background. He had been worshipped in the state of Texas. He had been celebrated in Tennessee. Now he was navigating federal bankruptcy filings. The lowest point was not the paperwork. The lowest point was that almost nobody had seen it coming. Least of all, Vince Young himself. When researching this story, two patterns appear clearly. Not just here, but across dozens of similar collapses. The first, sudden wealth without financial education is a liability, not an asset. When someone moves overnight from scarcity to surplus, they have no reference point for what money should do. Spending feels natural. Generosity feels right. The account feels like it cannot run dry. It can. It does. The second, trust without verification is not loyalty. It is risk. Vince Young did not lose his money alone. It left with help. A financial advisor's title does not make them trustworthy. Only their track record, their accountability structure, and independent oversight of their decisions can do that. People who maintain wealth across decades do not do so simply by earning more. They build systems. Multiple sets of eyes on every account. Advisors who are legally required to act in the client's interest, not their own. Regular audits. Questions asked and documented. That infrastructure is what separates a fortune that lasts from one that disappears. Vince Young has spoken publicly about his story in the years since. He has not hidden from it. He has talked about financial literacy for athletes and about what he would do differently. Understanding earned through this kind of loss is hard-won and extraordinarily expensive. He arrived in the NFL as the most electrifying young quarterback in the country. He left with a lesson that millions of Americans, not just athletes, are still learning the painful way. The money was real. The number was extraordinary, and it was gone inside a decade. If this story changed how you think about who you trust with your money, share it with someone who needs to hear it.